Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Glenn McGowan. This is Atlas Baldwin. Today we're going to be doing a walk around of all the cars I have in my collection. So we're going to get started by going over to the house garage, looking at what's in there, and then we'll move on over to the shop and see some of the cars that are in there. I'll kind of go over why I chose which car and kind of the specs on everything like that. A lot of you guys know me as a Corvette guy. A lot of you guys know me as a BMW guy. So I just kind of wanted to share everything so you guys can kind of see everything that I have here and why I chose them. So let's get into it. This week's video is brought to you by atlasbone.com. Shop our site for Corvette performance parts, merchandise, and much more. See the link in the description or visit atlasbone.com. So before we get into the cool stuff, I want to pay a little bit of respect to the cars I drive on a daily basis, which is like our family cars, which is that X5 and that X5. So, you know, as you're older and you get a family, you need some reliable cars, and that's what we use pretty much on a day-to-day basis. So I just wanted to kind of throw them in to the collection because they are the workhorses of our household. So besides that, let's open up these garage doors. Okay, so behind door number one, the suspense. This is my 1999 BMW E36 M3 convertible. I had this thing for about like 8 years now or so. Now I currently have the hardtop off, but as you can see in the corner back there's a hardtop that I keep on it pretty much all year round except for you know, summertime. So summertime I bring it over here, take the roof off, and we all hop in this as a family on the nicer days, not when it's too hot. But yeah, let me just pull this thing out real quick and then we'll just take a better look at it. Okay, so here she is. So pretty much stock. I have BC Racing coilovers on it, like one of those like K&N cold air intakes. But besides that, it's all original and it's in pretty good shape. There's no rust or anything on it. So I am in the BMW parts business, if you didn't know. So when I started out like 14 years ago doing parts, the E36 is kind of what we started with. And I kind of watched the M3s really go up in value, and I just kind of ended up like falling in love with them and wanted to get one. And the E36 with a hardtop on it is my favorite look. So I went after and got one off a customer of mine that was like garage kept, and you know, there's no rust underneath. And that's the most important thing with these cars is rot. Miles is not really an issue, but you know, a lot of them rust out really bad at the jacking points. So getting a clean chassis car is kind of like the most important thing. So, but besides that, it's a fun car to drive and still good looking and kind of a timeless body style. There's the peek of the interior, and the interior is really good shape. A lot of these just fell apart. If you're familiar with these cars, like the door panels are just known to fall apart, and the back seats and the convertibles always crack and split. So this is like, all in all, just a pretty good example of one that's like still together, not all like hacked up. And this is the hardtop, my favorite part of the car being a convertible. So that's behind door number one. So let's look at door number two. Alrighty, so this is my 2009 Porsche 911 Carrera 2. This is pretty much bone stock except for I have BC Racing coilovers on it, which I did a series on that, and then wheels. But other than that, it's pretty much all stock and clear side marker light things there. Red calipers. But black on black, 6-speed car. It's the first year for the direct injection engine, so it kind of did away with the IMS bearing issue that the earlier cars had. So this is my first Porsche. I bought this years ago. It was on my bucket list of cars I always wanted. I did some research and I wanted to get an air-cooled one originally, but kind of just didn't want to deal with like older car problems since I have a bunch of older cars. So I ended up going with this as like my favorite body style, the 997.2. And 100% happy with it. And it's been great and reliable and super fun to drive. And Yeah, definitely one of my favorite cars. So the car was stock up until like a year ago, and I mean, it still kind of is stock besides the suspension and the wheels. But I just need to do something to it because it just looked like a, soccer mom 911 with stock wheels on it, stock ride height. So just doing the wheels and the suspension on it just made it look that much cooler, and it really kind of stands out and turns heads now, and kind of complements the rest of my cars, being just a little bit different and just standing out a little bit. But yeah, so that's it. I got one more German car to look at, and then we'll get into the Corvette stuff. All right, so this is my 2003 BMW E46 330 Ci. I originally got this car about a year ago. I was going to do an LS swap with it, but I made a mistake of buying one that was like really clean and really nice, where I should have just used like a coupe from my parts business that was ratty to do it, because now I just don't want to do anything to it. It's like all pretty much stock for the most part. Coilovers on it, the ECS tuning coilovers, BBS LM replicas on it. I was in like a light front end hit with it. So it's got a new OEM hood, headlight lenses, like the whole front end's been replaced. And the car's really clean, and underneath of it, it's solid. There's no rust. It runs awesome. So now I just drive the car. I don't really plan on doing anything else to it until I get bored, and then maybe I'll do an LS swap, or if something goes wrong with the 3-liter that's in it. But besides that, yeah, I just been kind of enjoying it. This is like one of my favorite BMWs of all times, the E46. I do like this better than my E36, but we won't tell that car that. There's just something about this. This is kind of like what we do a lot of parts for, my parts business. So this is just that style that I just kind of fell in love with. Still timeless looking BMW, and just a fun, awesome car to drive and enjoy, and super comfortable. And I'm just confident with these things. They're just so reliable. They'll run forever. I mean, I have customers with like 300,000 miles on these things, so they just run. So we will now go on into the shop, see some Corvettes. All right, now I'm in the shop with the Corvettes. Now you're thinking to yourself, it's a pretty odd collection of German cars and Corvettes specifically, but it comes down to, like, I'm just into sports cars, and two-door, rear-wheel drive, that's kind of my thing. Whatever you're into, get it. Like, if you like it, if it moves you, it doesn't matter if it's cool or not. Like, if you like it, makes you happy when you're out somewhere and you park it and you look back at it, like that's what like collecting cars is all about. Having those cars, like this one, for example, my C4, like I love the C4 Corvette. Now, I could get a C6, a C7, a C8, a C5, but like the C4, that was a car I had on my wall as a poster as a child. So to me, it's like, I just wanted to have one, and I bought this probably 4 years ago or so, before I started the channel. So like 4.5 years ago, something like that. And I wanted to build like an 80s cool build. And then at that point, I started my channel and was doing like, all sorts of stuff to this car. But pretty much like, this is just one of those cars that I like. And it's not like it's the best car out there, the best Corvette ever made. But to me, it is just something that like I had to have, and I wanted to build one that was cool and stood out. Now, getting into this car specifically, this pretty much like I feel got like my following on YouTube is C4 stuff. That's kind of what I'm known for on there. So this car is in 1985. It was a 4+3 car. It's still the original two-port fuel injection car. It went through like many like variations since I've had it. It's only got like 68,000 miles on it. Not that that means anything, but the original engine's in the car. The Doug Nash 4-speed is out of there. I had a ZF6 in it for a while. It was on air ride for a while. Now it's back on coilovers, and that was the original setup I had on the car. And I kind of wanted to get the car, you know, more of like just an everyday driver. I could hop in it, drive it when I wanted to. When it was on air ride and stuff, I didn't really drive it that much because it just kind of sat here, and I, you know, was more worried about having issues when I was driving it than, and I ended up not driving it, just sat here a lot. So now I drive it a little bit more. I had recently done a Tremec TKX 5-speed swap in the car, which was awesome. And the way the car handles now, it's just a completely different car. It just is like so responsive and just handles so well, and it just feels like it's on rails. I have chassis braces underneath of it, the vet-to-vet chassis braces. I have the front, I think it's Van Steel. It goes from like lower control arm to lower control arm, and the top, that brace on the car too. And then the coilovers, what else did I have done to this thing? Just little stuff like that. The transmission is done, but the engine is still original. I got like an aluminum radiator in the car. So at this point, you know, I've just been driving it and enjoying it. It's got Alzor wheels, which is a BBS LM replica, similar to the ones on my E46. They are 18 by 9.5 all the way around on it. With 35mm offset. They are BMW wheels. I bought it off a BMW site, ECS Tuning, and they bolt right up basically. A lot of people ask me questions. I've done many videos explaining what wheels and stuff are on that car, but just, you know, bring it up to date to tell everybody that's what's on here is those again. Yeah, some spacers in the rear just to kick the rear wheels out a little bit. Other than that, it's pretty much yeah, where it sits now. And I did paint the car too on the channel, so the paint job on it is newer. It's not perfect, but it looks so much better than it did before. So that is that. We'll do a quick walk around of the car so you can take a better look. Okay, here we go. Another thing that popped in my head was I did make my own dual exhaust on the channel. So all that stuff's documented on here, so you can go back and see all the things that I've done to this through the years. This is her there. Perfect stance, 0 wheel well gap there. Take a look inside. I did all the weather stripping too when I painted the car. I did recover these seats. They were like the perforated gray leather originally. They were like completely just falling apart. I did these seats before I even had the channel, so they look almost like brand new. I put a new steering wheel on it too before I started the channel. And there's my shifter for my Tremec. So that's what she looks like in here, pretty much stock. Pop the hood. Okay, now I painted the car maybe 2 years ago, and there's a lot of overspray and like stuff from buffing it in there, so don't judge me too much on that. Not the cleanest. But you can see long tube headers that are wrapped, valve covers are painted. Like I said, it's pretty much all original. Smog pump delete on it. There's the throttle body bypass hose kit that I actually came up with and we sell on our site at LCOBMW.com. And then if you peek down here, I did all the bushings too on the suspension. Everything's polyurethane, upper and lower control arms. And there's the coilovers on it. And there are the coilover mounts that we make and sell on the site. And then our sway bar links that we sell too on our site. And this is the chassis brace too that I was talking about. Goes there like that. And I got like one of those like air cleaner lids that's like open in the front with a K&N on there. Exciting stuff, I know, exciting stuff. So that is pretty much it here with this. And the same thing in the rear too, like it's all the bushings are done in the back. Custom sticker. So that is that for the C4. All right, moving right along. So this is my 1973 Corvette. I had this car when I was in high school. It was gold. It was pretty much a piece of crap. It was like half primer. So I was like building this back in high school, and yeah, so I've had it forever. I don't even want to run the math on the how old I am and how long ago it was, like 25 years ago or something. So painted it back in high school. It's Dodge Viper Blue. I made the hood back in high school. It's like a hardwood cow molded into the original hood, which is cracking really bad on the other side of it, which happens when you're young and inexperienced with fiberglass. But besides that, it's lowered in the front, lowered in the back with longer bolts. They are 17 by 8 all the way around. American Racing torque thrust wheels. What else we got? Doug's header side exhaust on it. The engine is stock, except for it has FiTech fuel injection, which was like the best thing that I ever did because this car sat a lot and I would always have issues with the carburetor. So the FiTech, to this day, I could just turn the key right now and it'll start up. And that's been on there probably for like 9 or 10 years, the FiTech on there. That's been really good so far. I was trying to do like a drift build with this car, like a race car style thing, because I had those Corvette race seats in it for years. So I did like a quick release Sparco wheel, hydro handbrake, and I just swapped the trans over to a 4-speed, a Muncie 4-speed over the last winter, I think it was. So I just kind of finished that out. The interior is still kind of apart, and but I haven't really buttoned up that. But I have a custom seatbelt harness in the back of the car. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I have these lightweight deck vents that we actually sell on our site. These ones are carbon fiber. We don't make those anymore. We sell aluminum ones, which I'll show you in a second. And then I also have that like Le Mans quick release gas cap on both of my C3s here, which I'll show you. Other than that, it's pretty much as you see it. Now, there are probably like a million other things I need to do. Like it probably needs to be repainted again. There are cracks and splits and stuff all over. Like it looks good, you know, from here. But once you get up on it, you'll see all the imperfections. But that's what kind of makes it so cool, is that like it's not perfect and it's like such a piece of history with me. Like I've had it forever, and like I was, you know, was at my wedding, and like, you know, I drove it around when I met my wife, and like it's just been in my life forever. And it's one of those cars like you just can't get rid of. It's part of the family, you know what I mean? But it's also a car that I'm not really interested in doing anything else to it at the moment. I mean, maybe I'll get motivated again and do something to it, but it's just one of those things where I've had it for so long, and it runs and drives, and if I want to drive it, I can drive it. So besides that, you know what I mean, it'll be here and it'll just probably look like this for a while unless I get motivated to, you know, go over it and redo it again. But we'll do a quick walk around on this real quick. All right, as you can see, you got these like Grand Sport style sashes on it on both sides there. And it's got a pretty decent stance. And like all the brakes were done like 6 times because of the way the calipers are, but they're painted red. And there's the side exhaust. My race wheel. I'll do a little quick peek inside. Yeah, nothing really good to look at. The center console's all apart just because I was doing the 4-speed swap, but you see that. And then there's my harness bar in the back there. Corbeau seats that are nice and faded and showing their age. And then these are the vents I was talking about. So these are like the only ones that we have now, are the ones in this car. We do sell the aluminum ones too on the site, but they're the carbon ones. And then here is the gas cap, like that. So she got some bumps and bruises on her, but she's all there, still all together, and it's been inside forever now. So it's not rusted underneath, it's super clean. And there's the crack. It's been there forever as well. But it still looks good, still turns heads. All right, last but not least, big red over here. This is a 1969 big block Corvette. It was an original 427 4-speed car. It has a Ramjet 502, which is a fuel injected big block. That's what's hanging out the front there. A lot of people ask what that is. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's a supercharger. It's not a supercharger, just the intake manifold. Sorry to let you guys down. Besides that, this is actually a Baldwin motion car. Now, you may or may not know what that is. So there was a company, almost like a Lingenfelter back in the day, that would take Corvettes from Baldwin Chevrolet in New York, and Motion Performance would do this wide body on it, performance upgrades and stuff like that. Now, I don't have the documentation that it was from Baldwin Chevrolet, but I am positive that the body was made by Motion Performance. It was either done there or one of their actual kits that they made, because of the way the fender flares are, and these louvers here, like this, they are almost like flared out like shark gills, where there's normally just rectangles in a 69 bet. And these fender flares are not ones that you can buy. They're not the L88 ones. They're not like retrofitted. They're actually full quarters on this car. So this car came into like PA in like 72 or something like that. But besides that, you know, it has that Motion Baldwin body kit on it, and they would normally take big block cars with AC, and this has all of it, like the fiber optics. It has the headlight squirters. It had the factory harnesses for the seat belt. It was a big block car, which they normally would take. So that has like all the, you know, all the bells and whistles for like a 69 big block Corvette. This car only has like 48,000 miles or something like that on it. Muncie 4-speed. What else? Hooker headers on the thing. The wheels are Coi's wheels. A lot of people ask me about this. A lot of people love these wheels. A lot of people hate these wheels. They are like a Krager style wheel. Coi's wheels is out west somewhere, and they did a lot of wheels for like, if you remember the Fast and Furious movies, it was Dom Toretto out of Chevelle. Those wheels on that car were Coi's wheels. They do like American hot rod style wheels. They're 20 by 10s all the way around. Because this is a wide body car, the 20 by 10 fits in there like perfectly. It's like flush here like that with a giant lip on this thing. The brakes were done, you know what I mean, with painted calipers. All the suspension's done, all bushings. Trying to think what else. It's got a harness bar, a Bluetooth radio. The same thing in the back with our lightweight deck vents, the Le Mans gas cap, and a almost flawless paint job on this thing. This car is really like popular like on social media. I have a lot of videos with like, the highest one I have is like 6 million views. I have a lot of ones with 2 million, 3 million views with this car. It turns a lot of heads and a lot of people like to talk about it. So, which is pretty cool because it, you know, to me it is a beautiful piece of art. And you know, at least with social media, everybody can kind of see it because I don't go to car shows or anything like that. It just sits in here, but out in the real world on the internet, it's everywhere, which is kind of fun. So we'll do a quick walk around real quick so you can check this thing out. And the car is lowered. It does have QA1 coilovers in the front, and the back are, I believe, C4 Corvette lowering bolts, the longer ones. And because of the wheel diameter so big, you know, they were long enough to lower it enough, but not too much, and not mess up the rear half shafts for being too much on an angle. Take a look here. There's our 502. Take a peek see inside. I have one of like the C3 wheels. It's like thicker and smaller, but still looks like a C3 steering wheel. Let's take a peek there. There's that like radio I was talking about. And then race clip harnesses. And then I think you can see my harness bar and fire extinguisher in the back. And then I got like the sound bar, speaker bar in the back too, which is kind of hard to see, but I did a video on installing that too. And then there are the deck vents that we sell. They're aluminum. And then same thing here as the blue car, Le Mans gas cap. And you can just see from the back how wide this thing is. Kind of hard to tell, but you can kind of use your imagination there. Emblems are shaved too on it. And you can see these fender flares here. Like that, how much they stick out. And then the gills and the fender flares in the front. So that is her. Okay, so out of all these cars, the ones I drive the most, I would say, are the E36, the E46, and the 911. Mainly because they have rear seats, and like it's kind of like my criteria now when I buy a car that it has to have rear seats. It's just where I'm at this point in my life. Because when I was younger, I always had Corvettes, and it wasn't gonna be the big thing because there's 2 seats, you and another person. But I got 2 little kids, and we're always together as a family all the time. So it's kind of hard to drive the Corvettes and stuff. I can take my oldest out on this one now, but my other one, she can't go, or she's just too small to go in the front. You know what I mean? Just because of height and stuff like that and safety reasons. So it's like, I can take one kid out in one of these, but it's very rare. We always go out together. So whenever I buy a new car now, it has to have rear seats. It's just kind of like, has to be part of the criteria because, you know, that just happens as you get older. And the reality is that life is busy like a lot of you guys where, you know, if I have a little bit of time to drive a car, it's kind of fun to do it together as a family. And then when I drive my Corvette, it's like just me, I'm out running a couple errands and stuff like that, or just did a project or something. So they're the cars that I drive the most. Out of all of those, out of the M3, the E46, and the 911, the ones I prefer and like the most to drive would be the 911 number 1, and then like the E46 because it's just such a solid, fun car. The E36 is nice too, but you know, it's just one of those things where you just kind of like, like certain things. And the convertible's cool, but I still have this thing with like the torsional rigidity in it, and with a hardtop on it, it creaks a lot. So it just is what it is, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, I like a solid car. So I would say like the car that I drive the most out of my Corvettes would be my C4. This is a car that I like consider a really reliable car because it doesn't have too much done to it as far as engine or anything like that. So it's just kind of like turnkey, drive it. And like I said, I love C4 Corvettes, and to me now the way it sits and drives, it's super fun. So I'll hop in this more than I will any of the other C3s. The C3s are definitely like nice weather cars because none of the AC works in them. And you're just like hot when you're in there, you know what I mean? And like, if it's too hot of a day, worrying about the thing overheating or not starting again, stuff like that. It's just old car problems. And like, if you've been building cars for a long time, it's just one of those things. Like if you're new and it's like your only hot rod, maybe it doesn't bother you. But for me, I'm like, what can I hop in if I gotta go run a quick errand and be back at a certain time? What can I hop in that I know I'm gonna make it back without having to send a flatbed? So it's usually the C4 is what I always kind of like lean to as far as like one of the vets to drive. Now, I would say, what car would be my favorite out of these? It's kind of hard to say. It's like picking your favorite child. Like you have one that like, you know, maybe like a little bit more than the other one, but I would say they're all my favorite. I don't know, like sometimes I throw around the idea of getting rid of one or two, maybe to get something else, and just make some more room, you know what I mean? But it's really hard for me because I'm very much a car person where they're like part of the family, and every car is like where I was at a certain point in my life. Like when I got my Porsche, like my businesses were doing really good, and it was almost like a big trophy of like, oh, I could finally buy a 911, because everything else I always got had to be like redone or built, like a lot of you guys, you know what I mean? Like just get whatever you can afford and build it. So the 911 was like a big kind of achievement for me. So that car's, you know, such a big piece of me as well. But like every kind of car is like a stage in your life. And if you're a real car guy, you know what I mean? So it's hard to get rid of anything. So it's like, you gotta just maybe build another building or something to stack some cars into. But yeah, so that's it. So thank you for taking the time and checking out my cars. So I'm sure there'll probably be more to come in the future. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.